We're going to be moving into our next segment, which is a live question and answer period with a panel of a few of our members. And we're going to be asking a few questions about the current conditions in this era of COVID and the new normal. So it'll take just a second for us to get that set up, and then we'll get rolling with these questions and answers. I'd like to introduce the panel to you, if I could. First of all, I'd like to introduce Mr. Alan Chang, CEO of Leader Mutual Freight System in Taiwan. And Mr. Stefan Haltmeier, CEO of Quick Cargo Service, Germany.
Guten Tag from Germany.
Mr. Roberto Colucci, Managing Director, World Cargo Italy.
Buongiorno.
And also Mr. Sumit Agarwal, Director of Rail Logistics in Mumbai, India. Welcome to
Namaste
all of
to
you.
Everyone.
Thank you very much for joining us, and I appreciate the extra time you've spent today setting up for us and coming in a little early so we could get this segment set up. But I'd like to start asking, the first question I'd like to ask you is, how has COVID-19 impacted your business, both positive and negative? Roberto, could you give us an answer to that?
Yeah, well, it's impacted us, I think, like many of you guys, both in positive and negative. Negative is basically procedures for pickups and deliveries are a little bit longer. There's all the screening, temperature readings, they take down your name. So everything is a little bit more, you're able to do everything, but it's a little bit more complicated and it takes more time. The other negative thing, obviously, is that during this period, the airline carriers have taken advantage of the situation, and the rates are going up. There's very few flights left, so whatever space you find, you pay very high rates for. The positive side, at least for us, we've been working like we've never worked before. We were involved, we were called by Italian government to do 12 charter flights from Shanghai to Italy. Now we're doing block trains of 50 wagons each, always of masks and respiratory systems and everything. So we already did 10 trains and we just signed another contract for another 10 trains. So I'm not going to complain. It's bad. It's more complicated. The situation is not easy, but at the end, it's been positive for us.
Thank you. Sumit, how about you? How's it impacted your business, both positive and negative?
To us also, I think the experience has been something similar to what Roberto has said. It has a few negatives, but for us, fortunately, it has been more on a positive side. But one thing which has been highlighted very well is that, apart from the human health check, a person must do their business health check as well. And that is what every one of us must have done during this time. We had a lot of time to really introspect with respect to what procedures we are following, what we are doing, what kind of business we are supposed to be in, and where we need to concentrate better. As far as the negatives are concerned, yes, the procedures, the hiccups, everything was something which everyone would like to avoid. However, the volumes reduced to a drastic level, and however, because our specialization was pharma and chemicals, we could sustain very well. In fact, we also moved a few charters during these times. We were working our asses off, but yes, the things have been good at the end. And one of the biggest positive that we could really identify was that our revenues, our margins, our finance management, everything has become much better over the period of time. And more than that, we have now more resources to attend to our valuable customers, as the unproductive customers have reduced drastically. So that has really helped us to improve on our services and our presence in the market.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Stefan, how about you?
Yeah, I think if we talk about the negative, of course, we saw from the breakout of the pandemic that we really lost on general cargo, particularly, we lost about 15 to 20% business, which of course we missed. The capacities are no longer with the airlines, as we all know, that the passenger aircraft, 48% of all cargo is moved on passenger aircraft, and these capacities are no more available, which obviously changed the market in total, because so far we've been able to buy contract rates for the winter schedule or the summer schedules, these rates are barely available and difficult to negotiate because nobody knows how and if the cargo will be available or not. So it has shaken the market. Every shipment today is or most of the shipments are ad hoc. We need a lot of energy to find the space and find the decent rates and carriers who can take our cargo. This is difficult. It's also difficult to spot quote to customers or agents overseas if we get a reply by the next day and then still want to keep the same rate because the rates they change by the hour. I have the feeling here. So that's it is negative, of course, and it changed a lot of things here for us in Germany. It's very unpredictable, of course. In your offices, you need to be careful to have all the standards set in case you have a case of someone who is infected and then you may have to close the office or work remote from another office. All these things have been set up with us here in Germany. The positive is, I think, is that the market is no longer as transparent because so far you had contract rates and the rates were very much similar in the market. Today, a rate to Mexico can vary from 10 euro to 20 euro per kilo, which is crazy, but this is the reality at the moment. And so it makes it less transparent for the customers, which I think is good. Stable or good is also the pharmaceutical business. We, as similar as Roberto, we had a few charters coming in with protection mask and eyewear and these protect things. So yeah, it's an up and down. Nobody knows where we're going, but it did definitely have a strong impact.
Oh, thank you. Alan, how about in Taiwan?
Yeah, over here we're about the same. I think more positive things than negative. Positive side would be like, during this COVID-19 period, we received numerous increase of PPE goods for charter operations, a lot of PPE product sourcing, etc. Also, there were huge demands for the moving of these charitable relieving goods, from our existing customers to the churches and the hospitals in Spain, Italy. Yeah, thanks to Roberto and Natalino, they had helped us a lot, and in the DDP deliveries, and also USA and South America. So we actually gained quite a few direct customers, for the big pharma companies who could not get airspace or having customs clearance problems from their existing folders. So that's the positive side. And also, just to give everybody an impression, we had between from January to September 2020, for this period of time, we have seen over 20% increase in tonnage, both in air export and import, from the same period in 2019, and about 50% increase in revenue. And believe it or not, about nearly 150 to 200% increase in net earnings. The earnings go super high because the higher rate, and with a higher margin, evident, during this COVID-19 period. So for us, we have really been benefited by this situation on the positive side. The negative side, almost the same. The airspace became super critical, and the price is soaring sky high. And it's hard for us to compete with those big players, from time to time. Yeah.
Thank you, Alan. Let's stick with you. I'll start the next question with you. The changes that you've had to make, which of those do you think will have to stick around and stay in place after the pandemic?
Well, evidently the remote work from home will become a norm. I think. Okay, after this pandemic situation, and more video conference, Zoom meetings like this will be conducting, and there'll be less business traveling, I suppose, and the e-commerce goods will be prevailing. I would say, yeah.
Thank you. Roberto, same question to you.
Yeah, well, it's not easy to say. I mean, what's going to be still present at the end of this pandemic, I think, is the same situation. I mean, once we've all been hit, and we're all going to be afraid of what's going to happen in the future. So all these safety measures for sure will have to stay in place. Reducing the number of people, like Alan said, with what they call here smart working or remote working too. Obviously, being optimistic, I hope that everything will disappear and we go back to normal, but I don't think that's going to be possible.
Okay, thank you. Stefan.
I think we will have to learn to live with the with COVID. I think for the time being, I think the things that will stay around. I mean, it was all named already. I think yeah, we will obviously we will do more Zoom meetings. E-commerce, I think, is the winner in these times. This part of business will definitely grow. Traveling to networks, exhibitions, these things will become difficult. And I think unless there is a vaccine found, I think we will have to work as we work at the moment. And I think the digitalization to become more digital in the forwarding, where we are still a little far back, I think, from other industries, this will be pushed forward now stronger than ever, because as we will see, we need to be more transparent. I think the advertising, or let's say the marketing we do, is more on the social medias rather than by personal visits. I think these things will stay around for a long time until I think we can go back to normal and a vaccine is found, and we can all meet up again and have a good meeting somewhere in Far East or Thailand or somewhere. That's what we are looking for.
Thank you, Stefan. Sumit, how about you? You see any things that's going to stick around, or how it will change in India?
In India, I would say, yes, definitely remote working will increase drastically in India furthermore. But in the logistics front, definitely the focus on involvement of more of technology will increase, and it will continue to be so. And that is something which is going to sustain and remain for the long period of time. But more than that, there are a couple of things which has, specifically from the Indian point of view, which I'd like to add, is that the focus on pharma and temperature control shipments and logistics will increase drastically. We have seen in last few months, a lot of giants have in fact started to invest in this segment. So that is something which is going to remain. And the way China was considered as the manufacturing hub, India has become a manufacturing hub for pharmaceutical products specifically. So we expect that to remain for a longer period of time. And one more thing which we have started to notice, which is going to remain for a longer period, is that alternate sources of raw material and alternate markets are something that everyone is trying to explore. So a new trend towards finding new markets, new resources, new economies is something that is going to come up regularly, and we have to just buckle up for that and be ready to attain to different logistical requirements from the customers from different parts of the world, maybe this time.
Thank you very much. I'll stick with you for this last question. We'll start with you, and that's going to be when do you believe that the economy in your country will recover back to pre-pandemic times, or if it will?
Okay, this is something, it becomes quite a personal question, because everyone's perspective will differ. But however, I still believe that Indian economy has started to showcase some good signs of return. The automobile industry, which was in complete lockdown earlier, has shown the best of the figures in the month of October for sales this year. So they are on the positive again, in fact, better than before, I would say. So those trends are welcoming. Apart from that, the total Indian economy as such, and the different parts of India has started to unlock themselves for day-to-day business and activities. So things are coming back on track. We expect another maybe 3 to 6 months for the business to become normal in operations. And the way India is progressing, or the projections are, maybe down the line of 1 year, we should be surpassing of our targets or what we had believed, or our pre-COVID, I would say pre-COVID situations or marks. So another 1 year or so maximum.
Thank you. Stefan, how about in Germany? I know you're entering back into a period of lockdown again, but what's
Yes,
your prognosis for the German economy?
That's right. Well, difficult to say because we're heading into winter now, and we are hit actually by a second wave, and we are in what they call a lockdown light. There is no possibility to go out or to restaurants and things, but we do still work regularly. I foresee the first half year next year actually still as critical, and I think as soon as the flu season is over, which would be April, May, I think I would expect an increase of the economy again. But it all depends. I mean, it's very difficult to tell if and when the industry will be back. And I mean, whether the car industry has to close down again or not, depending on the other countries, how they get through this crisis. But I don't know. Hopefully, I'll see the second of half year to increase. I mean, we're lucky. Our industry. I mean, we're not an airline. We're not in the hospital. In the hotel industry or how you say, the restaurant, because these people are really very bad off here in Germany at the moment. Our industry is still running relatively good. So I think we have to go through another drought through this winter, and after that, I'm very positive we will see an increase again.
Thank you, Alan. How about in Taiwan? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I do believe we have to wait until the second half of 2021. So far, even though in Taiwan the pandemic situation is kind of well under control, but our borders still closed. Okay, like myself, I hold a U.S. passport. I couldn't get out and in. Okay, like I wish to. So it's still gonna be quite until maybe after the second half, and with this high tension of Sino-America trade war and sanctions between the two countries, I would say the results will be like for China side. I think the high-tech and aviation-related business will be immensely dropped. So is the conventional consumer products is going to be slowed down. But from Taiwan, the high-tech will continue to boom. And the overall manufacturing will also grow due to this situation. The manufacturing in China will remain strong, but the market would divert to like Europe and Middle East and Far East countries.
Thank you very much. I think we've lost Sumit for a minute here, but Roberto, let's finish that question up with you. And COVID kind of started out in Italy, which kind of in Europe and kind of crashed the economy. How long do you think it's going to take to get back?
I don't know. Like we all said, it's kind of hard to forecast. I mean, after the summer, we were going through a pickup of the economy again. And now, just like in Germany and the other European countries are going through another lockdown. Actually, today, these new measures came out, dividing the country according to the regions that are more hit. And you can't go in or out of those regions of Italy. So, any type of forecast or plans you make is kind of a big gamble, a big risk. I personally think that pre-COVID is going to be quite hard to reach, at least for maybe the end of next year or something like that. We need some type of medicine or vaccine that would, calm everybody down, and then maybe things could start going back to normal.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Your input is highly valued, and I think everybody here has the same sentiments for the industry, and hopefully we work together as a team and work through all of this. Thank you very much.